My name is Darry Woodson.
Okay. What was your dad's name?
My dad's name is Darry Woodson Sr.
When did you lose your dad?
Lost my dad January 6, 2018.
How would you describe your dad?
My dad was a fun-loving guy, very soft-spoken, very relaxed, chill, very in the crowd. Didn't require too much, but he was a very powerful man that when he did speak, he had something to say. So he was a man of faith, stood on what he believed. He was a family man. Uh, really adored my mom, really adored his kids. He was just loving in all ways to all people.
What is the earliest memory that you remember of your dad?
Ah man, earliest memory of my father would probably have to be um, he used to work at Food Lion when I was young, super young, maybe like 5 or 6. And my mom would take him, he used to work overnight shift, and my mom would take him dinner. And she would take me with him, and I remember getting on his back while he would do the boxes, cutting the boxes, and he would just go down the aisles with me on his back. It was super cool. I think that's the earliest memory I
If your dad were here, how would your family unit be?
have. If my dad were here, I don't think the family unit would be too different. When my mom passed, he kind of instilled in my brother, me, my sisters, that family was important. And when she passed, he kind of held us close, kind of took all of us and kind of protected us from some of the things that we were experiencing, tried to help us through. So I think the unit, if he was here, would be the same. Of course, he would be here, so it would be a little bit better, but I think the principles that he left us still hold true.
Do you think you've been able to grieve?
Honestly, it took me a while to realize what grief is, and to admit that I was grieving, still am grieving. But I do think I've had the space to. I think um, when he first died, it was, of course, an immersion into work, and it was a level. It was a feeling of kind of abandonment, because as the oldest child, now I'm responsible for my family. My parents are gone, um, and it's like I'm still trying to figure out what life is and how life is gonna go and what's next in life. And to have your father kind of guide you through that is ideal, but I think the grieving process, it kind of masked itself in some ways because I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know if I was grieving properly. I didn't know, I knew I felt feelings, and I know when my mom died, my father instilled in us some principles that if you do feel free to feel. And when he died, I kind of took those principles. So I don't think the grieving process was difficult. It was just hard to recognize what grieving was, because it was totally different from my mom. This is my hero. This is I am him, and I'm supposed to be looking to him for some type of guidance on what's next. And now that that's not there, it was kind of difficult to figure out what was the difference in this grief rather than losing my mom, my love. I lost my example in my dad. So I think the hardest part of that grief process was recognizing what it was. Watching my dad not really hearing him because he died before I could ask the questions, but seeing him and remembering who he was, and now experiencing my life and seeing my responses were his responses, and seeing the connection between the feeling between man and son. I think I want his legacy to be, it's okay to be a real man. Real men are still wanted. Real men are still needed. And his example of a real man, I feel, needs to be celebrated.